Hello again, everybody. Today I'm going to do a little update on the Equinox, and also several people have asked me how I hooked up a positive crankcase ventilation for this vehicle. Now, this vehicle doesn't come with positive crankcase ventilation. It comes with a small hole drilled in the intake that goes into the crankcase, and it's a tiny little hole, and it is very easy for that little hole to get clogged up. Then you start building up crankcase pressure and you blow your seals out of your engine and spray all your oil out. I don't know why Chevrolet decided, maybe it's cheaper, that's probably what it is. I don't know why Chevrolet decided that they would take the PCV valve off and put a little bitty hole. I don't know, I guess they're just trying new stuff and to see what works, and obviously this doesn't work. So you can drill out the little hole just like I did on this. There's another video that I put doing that, and it will help. Or you can get a specialized oil cap that they make that is vented. It will allow ventilation of the crankcase, but you still don't have any PCV, and that is ventilating straight out into the atmosphere. A PCV valve is better because it gives a for sure ventilation of the crankcase by using engine vacuum, which is what vehicles have done for many years. Old Grain 68 Chevrolet has the same, basically the same system. It has worked for so many years, and all of a sudden they decide they want to change it. Well, the new design does not work, because once it clogs up, you start blowing seals, and well, your engine is history if you don't notice the oil leak right away. I've had a lot of questions of how I got this in the oil cap and all that. I simply drilled a hole in it. I used a I guess what you call like a Christmas tree bit. It's a multi-bit that, you know, is shaped like a Christmas tree, you know. And I drilled until this part was the right size. Wow, getting a little wind today. But, okay, I drilled until this part in here, if you can see that, was the size that is close enough for this to thread in. Now, I had to put some RTV around the cap in order to seal this up, because you want this sealed, and it once it tightened up, then it's sealed off. You have a PCV valve in your oil cap, and this particular PCV valve fits. I had to cut out the middle part of the handle on the cap, and the PCV valve is PCV part number 2342. I think I picked this one up at AutoZone. I think it was just hanging on one of the end caps. They had a bunch of PCV valves. All I did was I picked it up, looked at it, and okay, looks like it'll fit. But I'll put a link to this very PCV valve in the description, so you can go pick one up if you want one. Okay, so here is the entire system hooked up, and I've got the airbox disconnected, but I wanted to show you something. I did take this cover off. I just leave it off. I don't have that cover on there at all, because I think it's it just covers the engine up. I don't see that it serves any purpose, so I just took it off. It may be a little quieter, but it just gets in the way when you want to check stuff. So, okay. I have heard several people say you already have a PCV valve in the engine, and it is right here. This hose right here. Now, this hose is not a PCV valve. This is not engine vacuum. This is your air box that goes down to your throttle body. That's all this is. If you flip this over and look at it, all this is, it's a tube that comes down. This is all just extra stuff. I don't even know why they have all this extra, just for looks, I guess. But all it is a tube going from here, through here to here. This is not engine vacuum. Where you want to get your engine vacuum from is right here. This hose right here. This comes directly off of the intake, past this throttle valve. This is where your vacuum comes from. And this vacuum runs through this check valve. Originally this wasn't in it, I added this. But it runs through here, through the check valve, up to your brake booster back here. This is your power brake booster right here. And you can see the hose right here is running into your power brake booster. That's where you get your assist for your power brakes. Now, what I did is right down here, I cut that line. And notice where I cut it. I cut it on this side and left the check valve in between the T and the brake booster, because you want this check valve, let me see if I can get a better shot of it. Okay, you want this check valve to be blocking off air from coming in here. You want to maintain vacuum in here, even if you lose vacuum out here, because this adds a few more things that can go wrong. And plus, they put this in from the factory. This is a factory piece. I did not add this, but you definitely want to leave that in there. Okay, and that just came off, so I'm going to have to put a clamp on that. I have one. Okay, so this hose I just cut. You can see how I cut it there. And I used a T. Now that T, it's a 1/2 inch T. You could probably get away with using a 3/8 and some clamps. I'm going to have to clamp that. Once I get done making this video, I'll put a clamp on that. But, okay, I put a clamp here, and I ran this hose. Now this is regular 3/8 hose right here. And that just runs straight up through here and straight into this PCV valve, which I'll put a link to all of this stuff in the description. And you do have to drill a hole through your cap, but that's no problem. These caps are pretty cheap. You can actually get a vented cap, but it doesn't do as good a job, and you still don't have a PCV system. But okay, so how has the Equinox been doing? Okay, so several people have asked me about how the Equinox has been doing so far. And actually, I have done 3 or 4 oil changes. I've kind of lost track of how many, but I've done like 3 or 4 oil changes on it so far since I've had it. And every time for the last 500 miles, I put Seafoam into the crankcase, into where you put your oil, and I run that in the oil for 500 miles. And then after that, before I change it, I'll do a Seafoam treatment where I'll pull the line off of this PCV valve, and I will, with the engine running, you may have to hold your hand over the end of this vacuum line a little bit and just let it suck a little bit of that Seafoam in there. Just pour it out into it, and just, you know, you don't want to just dump it, because you don't want to hydrolock your engine. You just want to pour enough in there so that it can clean up. That cleans your valves and your intake. It cleans your combustion chambers and everything. And while that is cleaning, your Seafoam that's been in the crankcase has been cleaning your rings and cleaning everything in there. So once you get ready to change your oil, you drop your old oil out, put your new oil in, and it's all treated again. Now, I do this every time that I change the oil, because at first I was using quite a bit of oil. I don't remember exactly how much. It was like, you know, you drive 300 or 400 miles, you better be adding some oil to it, or you're going to burn your engine up. It was that bad. And I have taken it from that to now, between my 3,000 mile oil changes, the amount that it drops on the stick is negligible. You can't really tell that it has dropped any. It probably has used just a little bit, but not much at all. It doesn't, for all intents and purposes, it does not use oil anymore at all. So I think it's a successful fix. And also, I have noticed over the last couple of oil changes that I've done that, not only has oil consumption went down to basically zero, power and fuel economy have increased as well. It has more power, which it's still very, very weak. It's a 4-cylinder on basically a station wagon, so it's still a weak vehicle. It's not a fast vehicle by any means, but the power that it does have has went way up from what it used to be, and the fuel mileage has went up from what it used to be. So freeing up those rings has, of course, brought back some more of its power. So yeah, that is my update on the Equinox. That's how it's doing now. It's doing pretty good. If you have any questions, throw them down there in the comments. I'll look at them, see if I can figure out if I can help you. And I guess that's going to be about it for this video. I appreciate everybody watching, and I'll see y'all on the next one.